Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. In today's video, we're going to look at getting started with the Stormcast Eternals in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, using the contents of the army's half of the Ultimate Starter Set. This video will also be helpful if you're looking to build your first list with either the contents of the Skaven Tide launch box or one of the many other variants of Age of Sigmar starter sets. Today's video is sponsored by Gap Games, a fantastic miniature wargaming store in Queensland, Australia. They stock a wide variety of miniature wargames from all things Games Workshop to some of my personal favourites, Conquest of the Last Argument of Kings, and all things Modifius wargames as well. Use our affiliate code in the link below to help support both this fantastic store and the channel as well. Leading the box set is the Lord Vigilant on Gryffstalker. This is one of the new Ruination Chamber units we have, and as such it has the Ruination Chamber ability. This is a once per turn army reaction that you can use if you're picked as the target of a non-core ability, and it's effectively one of your units per turn in your army gets to make a resistance roll of d6, and on a 4+, that ability will have no effect on this unit. Now, this is something that may be a little bit confusing if you're still coming into Age of Sigmar, or indeed the new edition. Everything is an ability, from spells to prayers to effects that sort of trigger in the combat phase, like things that might make you strike last and all of that. If it's not a core ability, you can potentially stop it working on this unit. Now, this model also is, a pretty survivable hero. It's 8 wounds, 3+ save, a 12-inch move is really nice as well. Stormcast aren't particularly fast, so having heroes that can move and go where they're needed in your lines is useful. And it's put out a decent amount of attacks, a lot of damage too, at its attacks at either Rend 1 or Rend 2. Now, you've also got the Delivered Judgment ability. This is a once per battle army ability during any combat phase, and you pick a friendly non-hero Ruination Chamber unit within 12-inch, and that unit can use 2 fight abilities in the phase. However, after it uses the first of its fight abilities, it then has strikes last on the second one. So potentially on a unit that is going to survive, or potentially that's into a couple of different things, so you knock out the sort of first attack against something that's a little bit stronger, and then fight something that's a little bit weaker and not hurt the unit as much on the second attack. Next, we have the Lord Veritan, another Stormcast Eternals hero from the Ruination Chamber. This model is actually a Priest 1, so this is cool because it's going to be able to use the prayers that we have access to as a Stormcast Eternal. Once again, it's a Ruination Chamber unit, so it's got that Ruination Chamber ability option, but the thinking here are its 2 other passive abilities, the first being Sense Unholy Sorcery. This unit's Gryffcrow that it gets is effectively a token for it, and you subtract 1 from casting rolls and chanting rolls for enemy units within 12 inches of this unit while the Gryffcrow is on the battlefield. However, if you ever make a save roll of 1, the Gryffcrow is then removed and you lose this ability, but a pretty cool little thing to have. The other one is a Staff of Abjuration ability. This unit can unbind abilities as if it were Wizard 1. So not only are you getting a Priest which have the ability to have prayers which are sort of like spells from Wizards, but they can't be denied, you also then can deny it like a Wizard as well. You've also got the Judgment Blade, which is anti-priest and anti-wizard, making this model go hunt enemy wizards and priests, or potentially units that are wizards or priests as well. There are those that do exist within the game. Next, moving on to our units, the first of these are the Liberators. These are a Warrior Chamber unit, and so they don't have access to the Ruination Chamber ability we've talked about, but they do have their own Stalwart Defenders unit. Warrior Chamber units are generally more of your hold the line sort of stuff, and Stalwart Defenders is a passive ability, meaning they add 3 to their control score while they're contesting an objective wholly within friendly territory. So this is either whether you're actually in control of it or not, it's just whether you're on that zone you get the +3. Now, they also have a few weapon options. The majority of them are armed with their general warhammers, but one model in 5 can have a Grand Hammer, which does up the damage potential of the attack, and for all their attacks, whether with a Warhammer or Grand Hammer, they will have Crit Mortal, meaning on 6s to hit, they'll do a mortal damage equal to their damage characteristic instead. Now, they've also got the access of Stormcast, which is just meaning they've got a good save, 2 wounds apiece, the control score 1, which is always going to be an issue with Stormcast. You are low control score and a low amount of models. And lastly, for units in the box, we have our 3 Prosecutors, another Ruination Chamber unit. They've actually got the Flyer keyword. This is really cool when combined with the fact they have a base movement of 12 They're able to move across the battlefield really fast, ignoring any vertical terrain distance. They always just move in a straight line. Now they do have a ranged attack of 1 attack per model at a 10-inch range, but it is damage D3, which is nice. And they've also got their Stormcast javelins in combat, which get +1 damage when they charge. They've got the Ruination Chamber ability that we've already talked about, Disperse Formation, making their coherency range 2-inch. While this obviously is for more aesthetic reasons, meaning you don't have to bunch up all your wings and potentially break bits and pieces off, this does actually really matter because it can give them quite a good sort of control zone on the table. You've also got the Herald's Righteousness, meaning you add 1 to the number of dice you roll when you make a charge. 3d6 charges are just really good. When you got that 12-inch move, you got fly, then potentially your average charge being a 12 or 13-inch charge is really, really powerful. Now, where to go next? And the first unit we're going to look at are Reclusians. Now, if you have got Scaventide, you would have actually got these in your initial box set, which is cool. They are another Ruination Chamber unit, so they've got that Ruination Chamber ability, but they've also got a passive ability called Memorian Descendants. This is a really cool idea. The Memorians are sort of like these human descendants of the Reclusian Stormcast that are sort of tying them and making them remember that they were once mortal and what they're sort of fighting for. If you want to check out a bit more on the lore and how that sort of works, go check out the Scaventide novel. But the Reclusians' Memorian Descendants are tokens. They have 2 Memorians for every 3 models in the unit, and whilst any of these units' Memorians are on the battle, they add 1 to their resistance rolls for the Ruination Chamber ability. Each time though you make a modified save roll of 1, you lose 1 of the Memorians. Now, other than that, you are going to pack out a decent amount of power in combat. They're Rune Blessed weapons, 3 attacks at 3s to hit and wound with round 1 damage 2 and the Crit Mortal ability. And the other unit we're going to look to add is the unit of Questa Soulsworn. First of all, if you've taken a liking to Age of Sigmar Warcry, this is actually a fully bespoke warband that you can use in that game system. But Questa Soulsworn, I really like. A 3+ save, 3 health each, 3 attacks each with 3s to hit and wound, rend 1 damage 2 and no additional special abilities. Their Ordained Quest ability is used at the start of the game, and you pick an objective wholly outside friendly territory, and that objective is considered to be quest marked. Now, what this does is his will be done while you're contesting the quest marked objective with this unit. They add 3 to the control score, but also get a 5+ ward. Now, this is really cool because they sort of balance off nicely against your Liberators. Your Liberators are going to hold a friendly objective, meanwhile, these are going to be the models that you can use to go forward and contest enemy objectives. Now you've got the Relict Soul Guide ability, which is a core ability, and you can use this. You can pick a friendly Knight Quester within this unit's combat range, remove this unit from the battlefield and set it up on the battlefield more than 9-inch from all enemy units, and then if you pick the target, remove it from the battlefield and set it up again within this unit's combat range and more than 9-inch from all enemy units. This is pretty cool because it does mean that if you have a Knight Quester in your force as well, you can simply just pick this unit up and move them around, and the Questers Soulsworn can just jump around as well. So our force today, looking at our complete army, is going to be Stormcast Eternals, and we've gone for the battle formation of Sentinels of the Bleak Citadels. This ancient aura ability we get is once per army during any hero phase. We pick a friendly Ruination Chamber unit and give them a 5+ ward until the end of turn. It's really good for countering whether our opponent does battle tactics and the like of that. Our first regiment is going to be led by our Lord Vigilant on Gryffstalker. This model is going to be our general, and he's going to have the heroic trait Shock and Awe, which can help a bunch of models coming down from the heavens and gain some negatives to hit for our opponents. Unit wise, we've then got the unit of Liberators and the unit of Prosecutors with this model as well. We hope this video was helpful in getting you started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and it was able to give you some ideas and inspiration to start your own force in the game. If you have any other questions at all, please comment down below, and while you're there, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and join our Discord server to check out all our future Warhammer Age of Sigmar content.